We got a big battle in front of us, baby. And it's just started. So let's get funky like a monkey. For 16 years, the American dream has done it with you. Don't fail me now. Lord, don't fail me now.
All right, the Wrestlebros are back and with special guests this
Hell
time.
Hell yeah, man.
All
Go
right,
ahead, Vic. Tell the people who we got.
all right. So my boy Chris, y'all seen him maybe 10 times. He was in big trouble.
He's a friend of the show.
You
He
know,
disappeared
so
for a little while. I don't know what happened.
he had to go take sensitivity training.
Or is in the wrestling world. He had to go learn a new hold. Now he's back.
It worked. Got a little twitch.
And then we have Joe here from the Sports Group Therapy Podcast. Joe, welcome.
I'm excited to be here, and I can't wait to get this rolling. And thank you guys for having me. This is
well, thank you for coming, brother.
Yeah, man. Thank you for coming on, bro. We appreciate it.
You know, we're all about uniting the bros.
That's right.
So we need more than two people.
Bros.
We're uniting the bros.
All right, let's start.
So how about we start with what I thought was a really, really, really good Rumble match, the Women's Royal Rumble match. I thought this was really, really well done. I mean, I was with all my friends, having a good time. It was a lot of fun to watch. I didn't love every single little detail, of course not. But for the most part, I thought it was fun. I thought towards the end you had a lot of options. It could have went a lot of ways. They had me fooled because once Charlotte came in, I was like, oh, they're gonna do it, aren't they? Charlotte's gonna win. She always wins. But yeah, when they got to the end and it was Rhea Ripley and Bianca, that could have went either way as well. But I'm really happy they went with Bianca. Especially, I don't think they knew this decision until that promo she cut on SmackDown after she beat Bayley. Because even during that match, I'm still like, is she ready? But once she cuts that promo and that connection through the TV, I'm like, oh, she's ready. She's ready. But, strap a rocket to her. And then, of course, she seals the deal after the Rumble. Another great, great emotional promo. After that promo, I had to sneak to the bathroom for like 5 minutes and let off some tears so I don't lose cool points with the guys.
Oh, I thought it was something else. I don't know why. Okay.
Oh, no.
Make sure you wash your hands, pal.
Maybe if Tony Storm would have won.
She is thick like that. Okay.
There's a lot of winners there.
Yes.
So Chris, what did you think?
I really enjoyed it. I love that they kept some of the feuds going throughout the match. Because sometimes those things tend to fall by the wayside, but they kept the same women feuding during the match. You had a nice little Flair run in, which was cool to see. They hit his music and all. So that was cool. It was really enjoyable. And I just remember us popping a lot, like just ow. And this is what, the 4th Women's Royal Rumble? Is it?
I believe.
Right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, 4.
2018 for now.
This was a lot of fun, and we exploded at the end for Bianca to win. But I love that they had the two young ladies there, Rhea and Bianca, and get Charlotte out of there. Not passing the torch, but I mean, giving them the rite of passage, at least for now. And love seeing that. And I was happy with the ending. I would have been happy either way, Rhea or Bianca, because Rhea owes Charlotte for last year's WrestleMania to me. But yeah, I enjoyed the match overall, and I was happy with the winner.
Yeah, that's definitely some of the little storyline developments that you're like, where are they going? But I'm happy Bianca. The Rumble helps her more than to me than it helps Rhea. I think Rhea, her win needs to be over Charlotte. That's the win.
Yep.
She needs to get that back. We've been talking about this relentlessly on here. Like, she needs to beat Charlotte. I don't care what else she does. I honestly don't. Until she beats Charlotte. And then once she does beat Charlotte, all of a sudden now, and if they get Becky and Ronda back, you're looking at 8 top female stars. You can put 4 on each side, and that's probably more than the men if you want to be real. 8 female stars on the top of their game in their prime. Super. It's gonna be lit, Joe.
I was super happy that you had the top 2 young female superstars in the game, in my opinion, today, and with Bianca and Rhea going at it at the end. That's how it should have been, and I love that they're doing that, and it seems like they're recognizing the top talent right now, and and that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna go with them going forward. As far as Rhea I think Rhea, that's gonna be her mountain to climb. Charlotte and getting that win back, and I think she will. And but that could be that ongoing great feud for a while. That really take that. They could have that go till next year's WrestleMania if they wanted. That's going to be something to really look forward to if they go that direction. But Bianca, in my opinion, even slightly over Rhea right now, she's the top. I've said since she was in NXT, I said that she is money and she is going to be a big fucking deal. And I'm glad. Can I curse on? I don't want to.
Absolutely.
I'm used to our show. It's like truck drivers.
We're just as vulgar here, so don't worry.
Good. All right. Now, yeah. So, like I'm saying, I'm just happy they went with Bianca here, and like you said, I think you're right. You know how Vince is with his decision making. He can go to the very last minute with rewrites and everything else. And once Bianca cut that promo, I think you might have a great point there. That she's like, God damn, pal, she's money. And, or it could have been when she picked up Otis. She's like, God damn. Look at the vascularity.
Put the belt on her. God damn it.
Yeah, so she lifted that big bastard like nothing, you know how Vince is. So yeah, man. Overall, I was thrilled with it. I thought it was very well booked, and this is the first Rumble. The first 2 Rumbles that were without some kind of input from the late great Pat Patterson. So I think they did a great job with the whole thing.
Yeah, no, I mean they certainly did. I mean, with the Women's Royal Rumble, they actually did. It was there was the only one thing that I was really disappointed by, and it's a minor detail. It's actually a production faux pas, is that when Bayley was thrown out after being in the ring for 35 minutes, the cameras missed it because there was an entrance.
Yep.
Outside of that was like the only thing. I'm like, come on, WWE, you're so much better than this. Like, if you're having somebody coming into the match, but Bayley's gonna get thrown out, it's like somebody needs to communicate to the wrestlers, hey, Bayley got to stay in there for another 20 seconds, whatever, and then you toss her out. So that was disappointing because she's one of the top stars, and whatever. That's a production faux pas. We'll get over that. I actually thought the match, was very well booked. In all honesty, I think that with Bianca Belair, the fact that Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley were the last 2 in the ring, I was like, this is great. Because of the fact that now WWE has given a recognition to the future. We know what the present is, with Charlotte Flair, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Ronda Rousey, and the like, Becky Lynch going on down the line. But we've seen in NXT, we've clearly seen Rhea Ripley's ascend, although that over the last year or so, it's been kind of fugazi with their booking, which to me has really kind of dulled her down. And Bianca Belair has been on the come up. I've always been very, very high on Bianca Belair. It's a matter that when NXT was originally trying to push her, she was always ready athletically. She just wasn't ready as a character, as a personality. So now the two things are coming together, and it's an easy booking thing where I'm like, okay, Bianca Belair's on SmackDown. Who's the SmackDown Women's Champion? Sasha Banks. You got a perfect match right there for WrestleMania.
Jesus Christ.
Don't screw that up. Don't tinker with it at all. It's perfect, just as is. The one thing that I will say here is that with Rhea Ripley, although her story with Charlotte is going to go on, you can tell that story over the course of many, many months and years. It appears that after this match, the immediate storyline is going to be Rhea Ripley against Alexa Bliss, because Alexa Bliss went out there and all the girls, I mean, I laughed, but I understood where they were coming from, where all the girls ganged up on her like she was Nia Jax, and she's clearly the smallest woman in the ring. And you got like 10 women just beating the piss out of her. And I was like, okay, it's the right thing to do. And then all of a sudden she goes into this metamorphosis where she's going to turn into the Fiend, the Fiend personality. And Rhea Ripley's like, nope, whoop, out you go. And I was like, all right, this is great. Now I was just like, that's where I thought to myself, like, Rhea Ripley, if she wins this match, it's the booking can be really funny because of the fact that now you're trying to tell two stories at the same time. And although you can do it, I'm not saying you can't, but in this case, you want to focus your stories and make sure that your story is linear, not go into all these different directions, because that's when you can water things down and it gets screwed up. This, and to Joe's point, the fact that the late great Pat Patterson had nothing to do with these two Royal Rumble matches, they were very, very well done. I thought the way that this match was set up in terms of having a mix of the stars, you made your mid-card performers look good when the introduction of some of the old divas, the fact that Victoria was in this match, Alicia Fox was in this match. Although the whole interjection with R-Truth was just comedy for the sake of, and I'm like, dude, you don't need it. Sorry. I was like, I love you, Truth, but no. The one person that I was a little disappointed. Yeah, but I think the only one person I was a little disappointed I didn't see this match was Melina. I actually wanted to see Melina in this match, and I honestly thought she would be. So I was a little disappointed that she wasn't in it, but quite frankly, it was very well done. The positionings were well done. With Billie Kay telling that her silly story of giving out the resumes to everybody, trying to, that was cute comedy. And then when Jillian Hall did her whole Britney Spears gimmick and they teamed up, and it was just, it's like all the little bits hit, all the little things they tried to do, they hit, So that's the reason why I'm saying that this actually worked out really, really well. They told stories, they're setting themselves up for the future. In introducing Rhea Ripley, obviously, in having Rhea Ripley toss out Alexa Bliss, now you know that Rhea Ripley is going to Monday Night Raw, and that's where that story is going to continue. And that's good because, in all honesty, we can't see Alexa Bliss versus Randy Orton anymore. It's just you can't see that. So to have Alexa Bliss against Rhea Ripley, it's still a mismatch. I'm hoping that what WWE doesn't do here is that they want to make Rhea Ripley look weak, especially when you see the difference in size. But I'll trust, hopefully, that the WWE will do the right by both performers, because Alexa Bliss might look like a tiny little, she looks like a tiny little woman, but she's a very good performer. So putting her against Rhea Ripley, it's a matter of trusting them that both of them can get over once this is done.
Yeah, I mean that whole Alexa Bliss, Rhea Ripley should be interesting, especially now that Alexa Bliss has superpowers. But that's another thing that doesn't really be careful with, because they two things they need to be careful with. They need to stop letting us know when people are coming out. Like, oh, Natty was the number 30. So we're playing our little game in the, we had like a group of people and we're playing a game, and if number 30 comes out, if they win, you get money or whatever. We had this game going. So we're like 29, and the whole thing with the Rumble is trying to guess who's coming out next and whatever. So we're like, okay, maybe it's a surprise. And then we all go, oh wait, they announced it. It was Natty. And then we all went, oh. Not because we don't love Natty, because I love Natty. However, the mystery is better than the little. You don't really gain much by announcing people early. People want to see surprises. I mean, and then they also need to be careful with. They need to be aware of what their audience thinks and how they think, because sometimes they show something like Alexa Bliss. She's in the ring, and the whole time, everyone in the room is going, okay, she's gonna change, she's gonna turn or whatever into that other thing that she is, and then it never happens. And it's like, not that I want to see that, but they tease it and don't deliver. So
I was fine with it.
There's no way they could have been able to pull that off, because the only way they pull that off with Alexa Bliss is all those segments are pre-recorded.
yes, I know. So you don't tease it.
You can't do it.
You don't tease it. No need to tease it.
Well, I think
Teased it, and then they had Rhea toss her the fuck out, and
Exactly.
it elevates Rhea.
what it does is that it's actually an earmark, a storybook earmark to say, okay, this is now, it's kind of, giving you the pointer and like, all right, this is where we're going. And in all honesty, if Rhea Ripley was going to come up to the main roster on Monday Night Raw, listen, it's not exactly my favorite way to bring her in, but if you're not going to put her in a program being the Royal Rumble winner and wrestling for the women's title, then it makes sense to kind of have this where Alexa Bliss, whether we like it or not, Alexa Bliss in this new persona, is a top featured performer, whether we like it or not. And if you're going to introduce Rhea Ripley, why not put her with Alexa Bliss? And especially if she has superpowers in character, then that is created. That's kind of created to be kind of like an equalizer, because obviously when you see them standing next to each other,
that's a good
no
point.
one's going to think that Alexa Bliss is going to be able to take out Rhea Ripley.
So back to Bianca. I agree. I think her best opponent is Sasha. Her going against Sasha, and in a babyface passing of the torch way, I'm okay with that. Even though Sasha's gonna come off as the heel, because she comes off as a heel all the time.
Be a heel.
And that stupid laugh that she's doing now, I'm like, you're gonna make people hate you, and you're the babyface, the top babyface in the damn show.
That goes along with the plan. That you're gonna have Bianca be her babyface challenger. You're gonna start to slide Sasha to be the heel, to being the budding star. It makes all the sense in the world.
Correct.
And Sasha's a natural heel.
And think about who Bianca's been feuding with over the last few months. Been Bayley. So that's you can easily come up with the way to put Bayley and Sasha in some kind of tepid, like, hey, we, I don't like you, you don't like me, but we need each other through this, blah blah blah. You got to be able to put obstacles in front of Bianca Belair, because if you don't, then the whole purpose of this is to get Bianca over so huge that when she becomes the champion, everyone is going to be teary-eyed, and everyone is going to be like, this is our girl, we're behind her. When they did the whole WWE profile on her, when they talked about her depression, her eating disorder, all this other stuff, that there's no way that you can ever view her as anything but a superstar babyface. And if she's been working with Bayley, who has been outstanding over the last 12 to 18 months, she's just been outstanding. And Sasha Banks, I've always said that Sasha Banks, to me, is probably the best performer in the WWE in the women's division, simply because she could work as a baby, she could work as a heel, and you buy it either way. Although her wheelhouse is being the heel, but she could easily be the baby, and you buy it as well, because she knows how to sell and she's small enough to get the sympathy. But in this particular case for Bianca Belair, even if Sasha Banks doesn't go full-blown heel, she's going to have to heel at some point, because she's going to realize that this woman right here, she can't get past her. Like, in her own mind, she has to think that, and that's how she starts to heal. Is the doubt in her own mind of like, oh my God, this Bianca Belair girl, she's the real deal, and I may not be able to get past her. Working against Carmella, God bless Carmella, she's done great work, but there's two different levels here, and Bianca Belair is at the next level up, as far as I'm concerned.
Is that the match you want to see too, Chris? Sasha Banks?
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Was there any standouts for you guys besides the obvious? Did anybody
Plenty.
Dana Brooke was great. What the heck? Where'd that come from? They cut her loose.
Listen,
She got the hot tag.
Naomi was fantastic. Shayna
Naomi was great.
Naomi for sure.
Shayna Baszler was fantastic. Bailey, there were others.
Yeah.
There was another one. I mean, obviously Charlotte Flair. I wish the one person who I wish would have been featured a little bit more in this match was actually Dakota Kai. I thought that was a bit of a missed opportunity. Because Dakota Kai, I was just like, listen, you're not going to win the match, and I get it, but the purpose is that you want to go out there and you want to elevate your profile. I don't even think she eliminated anybody. And
she might have been the first one eliminated. Who was first?
The first person who was eliminated in this contest was Shotzi Blackheart.
Oh yeah.
And that was a bit disappointing too, because Shotzi was the only person eliminated, and I think it was like the first dozen women that were in the match. There was only one elimination. Yeah. So, eventually I just kept telling myself, it's like eventually somebody's gonna come into this match, is gonna clean the ring out. And once Rhea Ripley came out, I was like, okay, it's garbage time. Everybody's going out.
She was Diesel.
Exactly. And I think that with the obvious, but really the three people that I thought actually did very well in this match, Naomi got featured heavily. She started the match and was out there till almost the end. Shayna Baszler, fantastic performance. She came out number 6, and after having already wrestled the match and wrestled for what felt, I don't know, maybe 35, 40 minutes. And Dana Brooke, even though she was out there for a shorter amount of time, but all the things that they did was meant to feature her.
Yeah.
Even though I didn't like the fact that every time Dana Brooke got in the ring, she'd go to the top rope and then all the girls cluster up together to catch her. I was like,
And she's small enough that one person can do it. She's not like the biggest person in the world.
Well, she's not tall, but she's certainly built. So you got to get at least 2 or 3 to catch her.
Yeah. I like that Lana got a. I like that Lana got a measure of revenge against Nia for getting destroyed for like a year straight. You know what I mean?
It's a bad year for Lana.
God damn! I thought they were punishing Lana for Miro going to AEW. I swear to God, I thought they were like, all right, we're gonna.
I would have just thought to myself, like, that's
just gonna wreck you.
That would have been like, that's the king of pettiness, man. As far as I'm concerned, I think that realistically, what they were trying to do, I think, was they were trying to build sympathy for Lana. It's just a matter that, and I say this with all due respect, because listen, Lana's a beautiful woman. She does have charisma, and she does have a place on the WWE roster. It's a matter that we've never been conditioned to see her as one of the women wrestlers. And the thing about it is that back in the day, if she would have been, the hottest woman in the locker room, she could go out there, and because of the fact that she's so physically attractive, everybody's going to be like, ooh and a nine. But you have, 30, 40 other women that are just as attractive, much more athletic, and can give you a more compelling wrestling match. So that's why sometimes we disconnect from Lana and not necessarily appreciate the talent that she actually brings to the table.
Yeah, to be a wrestler, some of them could be a valet, and I think Lana might have been a better fit for a valet as a heat seeker, as a heat getter, I should say. Not everybody has to be a wrestler. So I think the valet role in wrestling, just the same as the manager role in wrestling, is a lost art. And I thought Lana was good at it.
She was great, yeah.
They had to try to make her Yeah,
it's one of those things where
I thought she was.
No, I mean, it's one of those things where they'll eventually get it right with her, because listen, as long, sometimes it's not a matter of, getting it on the first try. It's just a matter of staying out there. If you stay active long enough, eventually people will appreciate you more, because of the fact that it's all about repetition. Sometimes, absence can make the heart grow fonder, but at the same time, if you're out there all the time, the audience builds a relationship with you, and then they see you as one of their.
They better get to it though, because once the crowd gets there and starts chanting "We want Rusev" or whatever the crowd is gonna chant, They better get
Well,
to it and get some steam behind her. Figure it out. Figure that
listen,
character out because
if the crowd starts chanting Rusev Day, she could basically go in character and basically said I ran Rusev's ass out of the WWE if she wants to be a heel. No one will buy it.
yeah.
No one will buy it because obviously they know it's like, yeah, well, you listen, you and Miro are married, blah blah blah. But at the same time, it's a matter of how you want to present Lana. If you want to present her as a heel, then she may have to take a few digs at her husband on TV.
Tough for Lana to get. I don't envy her position right now because after what they did with that stupid fucking storyline with Lashley, oh my god, I don't know. It's tough to come back from that. So
Well,
they're doing their best.
You know what? Then maybe MVP should manage Lana too. He could be able to resurrect her career too. If MVP was able to do it for Lashley, what the hell?
He saved Lashley.
And quick sidebar, but I'm loving what they're doing with the Hurt Business, and I think they're building Lashley to be a main event guy, and even though he's an old guy, but he doesn't look it. They're doing it slowly and they're doing it right. I don't think he's even.
He's on
barely knock him off his feet as a monster heel.
And that's the right idea. I mean, we'll get to his performance in the Royal Rumble once we get there, but they actually did the right by him. The way that he was presented, WWE certainly did the right by him.
All right, let's go to this.
Sure.
This 3-minute, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I think we're gonna disagree on this one, but
did I call it or did I call it, Vic? I said 5 minutes or less.
I think everyone called it. I was just hoping that they wouldn't do this again, but that's just me because of what I like. But Drew McIntyre defeats Goldberg in 2 minutes and 32 seconds. But with about 2 minutes and 30 seconds before the match as well. So probably a combined 5 minutes, maybe, because they did fight a lot before the match started. So this was basically Goldberg Lesnar, but it did not have the same effect because we already saw it. This match works. Like, I can see it once every 5 years maybe, but now it's every time Goldberg goes out there is this match. And it's not like he's winning. So he's booked 50-50. He's going to win or lose in 3 minutes. I'm not a fan of that. If he can't do it, if he can't go 8 minutes, 9 minutes, 10 minutes, then there's nothing they can do, whatever. But if this is all that I'm going to see from Goldberg for the rest of his career, then I don't think I want to see him again, to be honest. Chris?
Goldberg? I'm sorry, go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
No, well, I that's as most as 3 minutes is whatever it was the most. That's perfect. That's right in Goldberg's wheelhouse. I don't want to see him do an extended match. I don't want to see that shit. That's as much as he's capable of, and that's what he's here for. And he put him over. So I have no problem with it. So I don't know. What do you think, guys?
I showed up late, so I was happy that was the first match, and I missed it. Someone told me. Oh, the match just ended. I said, please tell me Drew won. They said Drew won. I said, that's it. I don't even need to see it. Thanks. Someone said kick, 1, 2, 3. They got out of there. I'm like, cool, fine by me. Let's move on.
I mean, I'll say the one thing about this match is the reason why, Vic, when we spoke last week and I said it was going to be 5 minutes or less is because of the fact that Goldberg, even when he was in his prime in WCW 20 years ago, didn't really wrestle long matches. And when he was the WCW champion and he had to wrestle longer matches, you could tell probably about a third of the way through, you're like, all right, this is getting a little long in the tooth. We're talking about matches that probably went 12 minutes, 13 minutes. We're talking 3-4 minutes in and we're like, all right, it's kind of long in the tooth. Goldberg is just not meant to work that kind of a match. Although I know that it's disappointing because we certainly know that McIntyre can do it. And he can work that match and he can take it, he can give it, he'll sell, he'll do the big man comeback, he'll do all that stuff, and we love it and we buy it. We just eat it all up. But at the end of the day, with a match like Goldberg, it's really designed, it's designed for the matches to be short and smash mouth. And in all honesty, I actually thought it was pretty good for the 5 minutes or so that the match went. because there was a moment in the match that I was sincerely thought, I was like, oh no, Goldberg is actually going to win this match. And it's, because of, when Drew headbutt him and he got him down, and then Goldberg speared him on the floor and broke the barricade, the way that McIntyre sold going back in the ring, I was like, oh shit. I was like, oh no. And like Goldberg's going, and then Goldberg actually got him with the jackhammer, and he hit him. He hit him with it. And I just thought to myself, like, oh no. I was like, oh no, they're actually gonna mess this up. 1, 2, kick out. I was like, oh thank God. And the thing is with McIntyre, when he beat Goldberg, and again, this is one of those things where I've been saying that with McIntyre, what WWE is trying to do is give him signature wins. Meaning the signature win, the real signature win that he should have had was last year at WrestleMania against Lesnar. Unfortunately, the fact that that COVID came through and they had to do it in an empty sound stage, it kills a lot of the effect.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it was meant for McIntyre to do it in the big stadium, get the 100,000 people losing their minds when he beats Lesnar in a 20-minute spectacular match. But what WWE's been doing with McIntyre, and McIntyre has done a fantastic job as the champion, considering all the circumstances. He's actually done a great job of drawing people in, making the most of his situation. And although he lost to Orton, and we all kind of like, but at the same time, we're like, well, he can't keep wrestling Orton and beating him every single time, and then Orton comes back every month. At some point, Drew has to lose. He lost. Orton was champion for 3 weeks. Belt comes back to Drew, and he's been coasting ever since. This match with Goldberg is designed again to be a signature win that you can hang the hat to say that, hey, Drew McIntyre beat Lesnar, he beat Goldberg. Now who's the next big star? And the thing is that the way that this has been set up with Edge winning the Royal Rumble, you can pretty much put him with either guy, and you got fantastic stories to tell. With Roman Reigns, you can easily say, hey, Roman is the heel, and he, and that's a good heel babyface dynamic. But Edge can say, hey, I'm the old guy. I see you as the new lead, and I got to take you down. And for McIntyre to get another signature win against the WWE Hall of Famer. Come on, like all of those things are just, perfect storytelling mechanisms to get McIntyre over. He's already over, but you want to be able to get him that much more over. And the reality is, are we going to see Bill Goldberg again anytime soon? The way that the match ended and the way that he shook his hand, said, you passed the test, all this stuff, the answer is no. Goldberg,
he did his job.
I would not be surprised if we don't see Goldberg again for a substantial amount of time, if ever again wrestling, because it seems like it was meant to pass the torch. It was meant to be a signature win for McIntyre. And in all honesty, I don't think there's any stories to tell with Goldberg, particularly going into WrestleMania. Can things change? Of course. But right now, after seeing what happened at the Royal Rumble, I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I definitely
It's
think
cool, but the roster is way too loaded, man. We don't need Goldberg anymore. Please.
And yeah, you're right about that.
What were you gonna say, Vic? I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna ask you guys, who do you want to see Drew face at Mania? Do you even want him to be champion heading into WrestleMania? Chris, do you have somebody who stands out? Do you want Edge to challenge him? Do you want Edge? Probably if Edge goes with Roman, who would go with Drew?
Man.
Definitely tricky.
Yeah, it is tricky. I want him to hang on to the belt. I mean, here's what I've been saying about this entire time without an audience. I keep saying that it's great for them to take chances. So I was happy when Randy won the belt. I want them to take as many chances as they can now that the crowd isn't in the arena to kind of sway the decision making, which, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. The boss decides what direction we're going in, but the fans do also influence the decision making. So right now, Drew can face anybody, but I still want to see him get his due with an audience. So I would like for him to have the belt, for an extended amount of time. I mean, if he loses it, cool, but I want him to get it back and get that pop that he deserves.
You have an idea, Joe, for him?
I want to see Edge challenge Drew McIntyre at WrestleMania, and I want to see Edge put him over. Edge does McIntyre, even if it is a babyface, it's gonna be a babyface versus babyface match, which is fine. I think that's the best way to go, and I want to see Daniel Bryan win the Elimination Chamber and challenge Roman. I think that's the one babyface they have on SmackDown that could be like believable to actually give Roman Reigns a fight. You know what I mean? So that's what I'd like to see happen.
I mean, the thing is with the way that this match is lined up again, with Edge, you can put him against either guy, Roman Reigns or McIntyre, and you're going to have a fantastic match and you got stories to tell. I have a feeling that it's going to be Edge against Roman Reigns, particularly because it almost seems like the fact that SmackDown airs on Fox, it almost seems like they're going to want to stack it with the bigger stars. And I think that ultimately that's going to have a bit of influence as to how WWE tells their story. Now, it opens a door with McIntyre because McIntyre being a babyface and not having a direct opponent, the Elimination Chamber can become very interesting because of the fact that you have guys who have been heating up over the last several months on both brands. You got, Kevin Owens has been doing great work with Roman Reigns, Cesaro, Nakamura, Daniel Bryan. On Raw, you got Sheamus, Keith Lee. There's a plethora of guys, and these are just names I'm rattling off the top of my head. I'm sure there are others who I'm missing on, but you can have a very, very unique Elimination Chamber match with whatever pairing of 6 that you decide to go with, 3 from Raw, 3 from SmackDown, and the winner takes McIntyre on no matter who it is. You have a tremendously interesting story to tell where you can have a main event match with guys who have, for better or for worse, have not been booked great over the last several years, but their talent has always been so good that as the fans, we love them and accept them in spite of WWE's poor booking. And now that they're being properly placed and they've been heating up, like I said, with a guy like Nakamura, guys like Cesaro, guys like Daniel Bryan, you don't have to do much to rev them up with the audience because the audience already loves them. It's just a matter of give them something important to do and the fans will respond in kind. So I think that you can have those, a group of 6, I think I gave you like 8 names, you can add or subtract, however you like, but get the 6 best guys, 3 from Raw, 3 from SmackDown, put them in the cage and let's see who wins. And it doesn't necessarily have to be a Raw guy because, McIntyre's from Raw. That doesn't really matter. At this point, if you think that Daniel Bryan is the best guy to take on McIntyre, then tell that story. If you think it's Sheamus, or if you think it's, maybe a Matt Riddle, because I think that Daniel Bryan and Matt Riddle, that's going to be the match for WrestleMania. I think that they're the way that those 2 guys paired up at the Rumble, we're going to see more from those 2 guys. But there's plenty of stories that you can tell. Is it going to be better? Whoever doesn't get Edge as the opponent, whoever's the odd man out, there's going to be some work to do because there aren't too many ready-made opponents for that second champion. Whoever doesn't draw Edge at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think based on what Joe said, when I think about an opponent for Drew, it's hard to find one for me, for what I want to see. The biggest match you can do, based on what we've been given, the stories we've been given, to me is Edge Roman. But since Drew doesn't have anyone, and you can probably give Roman 5 or 6 different guys based on what the work he's been doing, maybe a Daniel Bryan, maybe a Big E, guys that fans might want to see in that spot. So it's definitely tricky. Based on what I'm seeing, they might have a trick up their sleeve, something we don't know about yet, because it seems like we're missing a piece of the puzzle.
I mean, there's a guy we forgot about last night, Seth Rollins.
Yeah, but
when
the
he
way
showed
they-
up last night, Vic was like, "Oh, I forgot about you."
Yeah, absolutely. Seth Rollins a big star. They're definitely gonna do something with him. I don't know what, but he needs to have some. They're gonna go 2 nights at Mania, so they got to have some sort of plan for him. So we'll see. We'll see how that.
Becky, you talking about Becky's baby daddy?
Becky, baby daddy. That's good.
Becky,
That's a
Becky
good
baby
nickname.
daddy. Yeah, right. I think I called it. It's better than Monday Night Messiah. I'll tell you that.
So we'll call him Mr. Man.
The man's man. That was his last.
The man's man.
That was his last nickname.
All right, I like that one. I like that one.
Yes,
Put that,
Okay, that's the winner. That's the winner.
put that on a T-shirt, underdog.
the winner. That's man.
Okay.
All right,
All right.
that's the winner. That
Oh,
is
that's good stuff.
Yeah,
So let's
that's
go.
an easy purchase.
Let's go to this Kevin Owens Roman Reigns match, last man standing, which for what it was, I thought was really, really good, because it was a stunt show, and they pulled out all the stops in this one. They did the golf cart spot, which I thought was crazy. It looked really, really good. KO is tremendous. I'm so happy that he was given the opportunity to show what he can do, because he kind of comes and goes, but he's always like right there by the main event. You know, he's always close to the main event. He's always watching. He always finds a way to get a WrestleMania match so he can keep wearing his KO Mania shirts. That's like my favorite thing. KO Mania shirts. It's like fantastic. And I need to see it every year, and not in a battle royal. I need to see it every year until he can't go anymore. If it's only 10 or 12, fine, but I need it to never
Keep
stop.
on those spots.
So I thought this match was, for what it was, I thought it was really, really, really well done. A lot of fun, very violent, very creative. The only thing I didn't like was the finish, not the idea of the finish, the execution of the finish. Clearly, Paul Heyman had legitimate problems getting him out of the cuffs, and the ref literally had to stop counting.
The ref was like this.
And the point of the match,
It was bad.
the point of the match is to count. And he's like at 5, and he just gives up counting. He's like, okay. And then you see WWE, you know, whoever's directing, whether it's Kevin Dunn or Vince or whoever, is like, change that camera. Don't show the ref anymore.
Show the
How nuts
replays.
was-
Show the
how-
replays.
How nuts
Jesus
was Vince
Christ.
going backstage? I didn't grab Gorilla. Vince
I'm
must have been. God damn it! What's going?
Hey,
No, he
man,
must
you
have
piece
lose-
of crap.
You fat piece of shit! Yeah, he must have been going nuts. You know,
Look.
he was losing his fucking mind back there.
Apparently, the only people that are allowed to speak to Vince are Paul Heyman, Pritchard, Kevin Dunn, Daniel Bryan, and Roman Reigns. So Daniel Bryan and Roman Reigns are not getting yelled at ever again. Based on that, the amount of respect that Vince has for them. Paul Heyman got his ass chewed out. I can almost guarantee it. He went back there,
Damn right he did.
and you know, if that was probably his idea too. Paul Heyman has a lot of influence in everything that's happening on SmackDown, and especially with Roman. And it was a good idea, but the execution, and I was thinking this is gonna be hard. There's sweat, there's a little bit of blood here, there's a bad angle. Paul Heyman is chubby, and you know, I don't know. He could have been rattled there.
Portly's a good word. Portly's a good word.
Portly,
Portly.
he's like a tall Danny DeVito.
No. Now you got to go with Alfred Hitchcock. You know that kind.
Perfect.
Alfred Hitchcock.
Perfect.
Lou, what did you think about this, Lou?
I thought that this match was, how can I say this? It was a great effort by both guys, but the match made no sense. None. After Kevin Owens got thrown from what looked like 2 stories down, that was the end of the match right there. That was the end. Because if 2 weeks earlier, 3 weeks earlier on SmackDown, he was thrown from what seemed like 3 levels below, and he was put out for 2 weeks. How the hell did he take that bump and get up at the count of 8? Like, that was just stupid. I looked at that and I was like, okay, the match is gonna end right here. And I see Kevin Owens, as soon as he takes the bump, his arms and legs are moving. And Corey Graves did an outstanding job trying to explain how this happened. Because Michael Cole mentioned, it was like, hey, this put him out several weeks ago. And Graves is like, hey, this is what adrenaline will do for you. It'll keep you going, blah, blah. And I was like, great cover by Corey Graves. However, to the eye, I'm like, this makes no sense. The match should have ended right then and there. That was a ridiculous bump. And then there was like 20 others before the match ended, which is just like, I get it. It's a gimmick match. They're just raising the intensity and the stakes. And the match was fun and entertaining. I'm not saying that it wasn't entertaining. I'm just saying that this is one of the few matches that I've seen Roman Reigns have in this recent run that he's had, where I'm like, okay, you're really pushing the boundaries of what actually makes sense and is believable. Because both of you guys essentially killed each other probably about 3 or 4 times in this match, where neither one of you should have gotten up. And in all honesty, I think that I would have been okay with a bump happening that was so crazy, neither guy could get up, and one of the Usos would have to come in and literally lift Roman Reigns up. I would have been okay with that.
That would have been a much better idea.
Because when Roman Reigns got handcuffed, and it's true, when I saw it, and I'm looking at Heyman, and I was like, hey, Paulie, you're having a bit of a problem there. And then it's just like, oh shit. And Roman Reigns, you could tell Roman Reigns was, he was panicking there for a second. Like, he was literally panicking, like, shit, get me out of here. When they finally did it, they had to go directly to the finish. And this is after Kevin Owens having what felt like 5 minutes to rest. You figure that after taking, 30 of the sickest bumps I've ever seen, he should have been able to get right back up. And it's like the match never happened. It's like, oh, we're right back to the beginning. And then he takes the guillotine choke. He goes down and the referee counts 10. I'm like, oh shit, come on, man. I get the understanding of what they were trying to do. They wanted to kind of give Roman Reigns a definitive win, because the 2 that he's had against Kevin Owens in this 3-match series, he's needed a lot of help, and he essentially screwed Kevin Owens out of winning. So that's how you continuously tell Kevin Owens getting another opportunity. So they wanted this to kind of be more of a definitive win. The idea sounded really cool. Again, I agree with Victor. The execution was not very good. And in all honesty, the way that the match was laid out, that ending should have never, ever happened.
You agree, Joe?
Yeah, I do. And my overall, and Lou, I'm right there with you. The only thing I'll add is that before this match started, I knew there was gonna be hard hitting and some great bumps, but I was disinterested. There was no doubt of the outcome for me.
Yeah.
Not going over, and Roman is gonna keep the title, and so like they didn't, and that happens. So you can't do that with every title match of these pay-per-views. Can't have like, there's matches what's gonna happen, like the outcome. You just don't know how you're gonna get there. But I knew Roman was winning. There was no doubt in my mind. So they didn't. To me, that's very important for these big matches. Like, you have to leave at least a glimmer of doubt. So that was my biggest problem. So I was kind of like I was enjoying the match, but I was not, and there was a lot of fuck ups with it. But yeah, I was not hanging on every move like I would be for a match I genuinely did not know the outcome for. So biggest issue with it.
Yeah, it was a fun match. I mean, Kevin Owens was amazing. The all the work they did near that extra ring, that freaking swanton, I thought it was over right there. That was ridiculous. That was insane. Then he gets speared through this. Oh my God, dude was phenomenal. And I thought he carried the match, to be honest. No shade to Roman, but he was awesome. But I'm scarred by the finale. It felt like they called an audible because they took too long to get out of the cuffs, and they were just like, just choke him out. Because I don't know if that was the actual ending, because it was pretty like anticlimactic. And Roman, then in my mind, I'm watching and he's handcuffed. And I'm like, dude, you can stand up. You can get on your feet and the count would end. And then after a while, he actually does it. And I'm like, okay. And then he finally gets loose and then the choke comes and I'm like I forgot everything that happened prior to that.
You see, you figure in a situation like that, that if you get into a tight spot like that, you know, in all the other matches, Jey Uso has gotten involved and he didn't get involved in this match, which was weird. Because I'm thinking like Roman Reigns is the heel. Like in my mind, the way that I pictured this match was Kevin Owens was going to be ready for Roman Reigns. He was going to be ready for Jimmy Uso, and he was going to be, or Jey Uso, and he was going to be ready for Paul Lee. But he wouldn't be ready for Jimmy Uso when he made his return. And I'm figuring that the twins were going to go in, beat KO's ass, and give the opening for Roman Reigns.
In a hardcore match.
Correct. Meaning, you know, this goes to Vic's point when he would always say, if it's a match with no rules and you got your people, how come your people don't show up?
Yeah.
And this was creatively a match where I'm like, if Roman Reigns in the previous two matches has always had people, you know, helping him, and he made no indication in any of his promos or anything that he did leading up to this particular match that he was going to go at it, he was going to go on his own, which would make no sense because that's a babyface thing to do. If he's the heel, he's like, you know, if he's got his cousins who are going to back him up, then, yo, sorry, KO, it's 3-on-1, brother. You better get some friends.
Yeah.
But it just kind of felt like this was like the first match. And again, I understood that the outcome was never in doubt. And sometimes that doesn't bother me. Because when he in all three matches, to me, the outcome was never in doubt. But the finishes were so entertaining and the matches were so entertaining. And I'm like, okay, KO got over in defeat. He looked like $1 million in defeat. In this particular one, it fell flat and no one got over. It was a great effort by both guys, but no one got over at the end. And that's unfortunate.
All right, let's go to the Men's Royal Rumble. Again, another really good Rumble. Really, really, really well done. A lot of fun. You know, surprises. They did everything. The final, Chris, do you remember? I think around the last 6, maybe, I was like, yo, it's nothing but studs in here.
Yeah. Last maybe 10.
Yeah, it was.
No
Let me see
slouches.
if I can find the order.
I mean, I got the order of entries here, so if you need it,
Well, I'm talking about the last 6 that were in the ring. So
you got Edge, Christian, Strowman, I'm sure was in there.
yeah, Strowman, Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
It was something like that. And
They were the final 4. They were the final
4. Yeah. So, and then Orton, who was in hiding.
Yes, like a true heel he is.
Of
Yes.
course, that was written in the stars immediately.
Yeah. So it was. I mean, it was a lot of fun. This match. My only problem was again that I wasn't surprised with the number 30 because they already told us that Strowman. That's the last thing you saw. Was that on SmackDown? Yeah, Strowman shows up and it's a big surprise. So that we get the surprise on SmackDown. So now we know he's in the Rumble, but he's also number 30. So then you're like waiting for Strowman, and I'm like, so it's a little bit of a letdown. Even though it's you know good to see Strowman, he's a guy who might be considered for one of those main event spots at Mania, because I think they were grooming him. They were getting him ready for one of the who was he getting ready for before he left?
McIntyre.
I feel like he was about to fight McIntyre.
McIntyre.
Right. Yeah, it felt like he was about to fight McIntyre.
Or maybe Roman Reigns. I'm not sure because I think he may have been on SmackDown. I'm not sure if he's on Raw now.
Yeah, I was checking his matches. He was on SmackDown about in his last 10 appearances. He was like on SmackDown 4 times and on Raw 6 times. So brand split.
What'd you say, Joe? Joe's saying something I can't hear him.
Vic, I was just going with Vic there. To your point, do you remember? I don't know if you remember the first time they really spoiled the number 30 spot was in 1996. They had a match with Duke the Dumpster Droese against Triple H in the fucking free for all before the Rumble. and it was the winner. The winner would be 30. The loser was 1. They're spoiling both of those fucking spots in one
The
shot.
two most important spots.
Yeah, as Pat Patterson would say, I hated it. It sucked. I hated it. It was it ruined the two big important spots. I hated that shit. They continue to do this with at least with the 30 spot every year, and I'm not a fan of it either.
Yeah, I like I said, I'd rather the surprise, and don't think that we're dumb. Maybe they thought that we would forget that they literally showed us that Strowman, he came in, they had a damn 10-on-10. So obviously that's to promote the Rumble, which is fine. And here comes Strowman to close the whole situation and get rid of everybody. Okay, Strowman's in the Rumble. Whether you tell me or not, I know he's in there. Yeah. Christian probably should have been number 30. If anything, for me, that was like the feel-good moment right there. And how good did Christian look?
Shame there was no crowd there, man. So what a pop he would have got.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Christian looks ready. I'm mostly against how WWE uses their legends, quote unquote, unless there's a really good story there. And Edge and Christian and everything they've been through, and everyone knows how much these guys love wrestling. They needed a better ending to their careers, and now they're back and they can get redemption. There's great stories to tell. I'm very excited. To me, they're fresh faces. Even though they're legends, it's like fresh faces. It's very exciting. And Christian looked great. His physique, his gear, his hair, beard. This guy was money. He looked great.
Yeah. Did I miss his induction? I'm forgetting right now.
He's not a Hall of Famer. He's not in the Hall of Fame.
Well, he's a slam dunk Hall of Famer whenever they want to pull the trigger on that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so maybe this is the run, to put the nail, hammer it home. Hey, put me in the Hall of Fame. Damn it.
There's no reason to hammer it home. I mean, Christian was, I think that Christian was solidified as a Hall of Famer when he came back from his run in TNA, and he had that good, 3-4 year run where he was literally, put him against anybody. It's like, hey, we want to get a great match out of so-and-so. Hey, go ahead, go talk to Rezo. He'll hook you up. Go talk to Christian. Boom. Christian versus whomever. Great match. That whole second run in the WWE after he came back from TNA, there's little to nothing that wasn't good about that run.
How he came back, now I think Vince was pissed at him for the first place. So do you remember he returned to such little fanfare on ECW, on the rehashed ECW, that he returned with no build up. It was kind of like not a big deal. And he proved himself all over again. And to the point where I think he proved himself how good he was, how committed he was. And he ate a lot of shit for a while, in my opinion. He was stuck on that really bad ECW show. And then he got all the way back to the point where he was winning the title from Orton. Yep. And they still they gave it right back to Orton like 2 days later. They still kind of dogged him, but he made the best of it because he wanted one more match. Yes, and it was awesome. And and that, to me, that was the definition of turning chicken shit into chicken salad. And he did his thing. And so much props, so much respect for Christian, man. He's a true legend, man. The guy is so much respect for him for overcoming. I think with Vince really was angry at him and shitted on him when he came back, and he overcame all of that to make the best of it and make a hell of a run.
I mean, I always look at that when, in all honesty, when he left the WWE first time around and went to TNA, he had to do it. He had to leave, because if that, let's say that he never took that 4-year period and went somewhere else, and he went somewhere else where, yes, you could say big fish in a small pond type thing, fine, but he went from being a lower mid-card guy as a single, because mind you, once he and Edge got broken up, it was very clear who WWE pushed as the star. It was Edge, and then Christian was, hey, he, the curse of the good hand, put him in there against everybody, but he wasn't winning matches, and he was not doing much of vast importance at that point. goes to TNA and basically reinvents himself completely. You know, has a career renaissance. He finds his voice as a single talent, as a singles star. He found his voice. When it came time, once he did everything he could do in TNA at that particular point, he always wanted to go back to the WWE, but he needed to go, as they say, go learn a new hold, meaning he needed to go elsewhere and become a better version of himself. So when he came back to the WWE, he was in a much better spot, that no matter what WWE would throw at him, he was going to get over in spite of them. And he did. And to the point where the audience loved him, and they started him in ECW all the way to where they brought him up to the, to the main roster, on SmackDown, where he was working against Orton in the main events for several months on end. And nothing that he did was bad against Orton, looking back on it. Maybe the storylines and some of the finishes may not have been all to our liking, but the matches, the actual body of the work, none of it was bad.
Yeah, we also
Christian.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, yeah.
No, go ahead.
Well, in 05, I thought Christian was over. They just wouldn't go with him. That's why he left. He was over with. He was starting with my peeps and everything else, and the guy was over. The crowd, he was an over heel, and they just would not go with him. So he said, "All right, well, I'm gonna go where I'll be appreciated." And he went to TNA, got some validation, and then they came back, and just like Vic said. So yeah, I just wanted to add that little spot of. I think that 05 Christian that was really underrated and forgotten, and he had a cooler theme with the chick singing the song instead of the guy when he came back. I like that original theme better with the girl singing it. So,
Okay.
anyway.
Was that I forget, because he had very similar themes in WWE and in TNA, and one of them was Evanescence. Which was
that was a great theme.
I love that.
I think that was TNA. I think
that was TNA. That was
TNA.
Oh my God, I love that theme. I love that theme so much.
Me too.
He really did really think it through, because as soon as he came out and showed up in TNA, he started doing all of this and doing the music and the gear. He was money, and he probably had a little bit more freedom. So you saw his matches. He started taking chances and trying new things, and when he came back, he was definitely better for it. So, we had another surprise. Carlito.
I thought you were gonna say
in
Kane.
the face.
Kane,
People don't want to be
I wasn't
pulled.
necessarily happy to see Kane. Kane was there to get. They needed Damian Priest to do something. They're like, well, if we're gonna bring him up, he better do something. So they said, oh, let's bring out Kane, make him look scary for 1 second, and then Damian Priest can get rid of him, and that'll make Damian Priest look scary.
No, WWE messed this up last night. Vic, you remember when we did last week's video when I said that if they want Damian Priest to make an impact, the one guy that he needs to toss out is Bobby Lashley. The one guy that Damian Priest needs to toss out is Bobby Lashley.
No.
And now, mind you, no, hear me out. The reason why I would say Bobby Lashley is because Damian Priest comes in. Lashley is already in the match, meaning that Lashley enters before Damian Priest. That once Priest came in first, I knew that wasn't going to happen. But he had Damian Priest come into the ring. Damian Priest starts cleaning house. Bobby Lashley has already had his shine. He's already tossed out a few guys. He's already killed people. And the thing is that he runs into Damian Priest, and then Damian Priest gets the better of him and tosses him out. The idea behind this would be is if you want Damian Priest to have a big elimination, it would be Bobby Lashley. And guess what? Bobby Lashley in the Hurt Business will not take that line down. If you incorporate Damian Priest into Raw, you already got a ready built program for both of them, and then you can move them towards WrestleMania, because you already have, it's like this irresistible force, immovable object type deal, where you're gonna be like, who's gonna get the better of who? Because guess what? I'd rather see Bobby Lashley versus Damian Priest than Bobby Lashley versus Matt Riddle, with all due respect to Riddle, but that pairing doesn't seem to work. And once Lashley threw out Damian Priest, I was like, oh man. To me, it's a missed opportunity, because with Kane, it's like,
Let's see. There's four of us here. Chris, what are your thoughts on Damian Priest? Where do you see him? Do you see him as a main event guy? Do you think Lou thinks highly of Damian Priest? I don't necessarily.
I like Damian Priest.
Okay, so how much do you like him? Where is he on the card? Is he in the Kevin Owens spot? Is he
Yeah,
top level? Is he where do you got him? Mid
I
card?
don't see him there yet. I do see him in that upper mid card where he's fighting and vying for that championship, maybe a few years down the line. But right now, not just yet. I love the athleticism. I actually like the character. I do think he'd be cooler as a heel though, but he probably would have to um, lessen some of the maneuvers. But I like the guy a lot. His size, athleticism. I like him a lot, but I still, for now, at least so he gains some wins and a little more work. I still see him upper. I'd say upper mid card.
Joe, where do you stand? Because you look disgusted at the thought of Damian Priest throwing out Bobby Lashley.
No. I think Damian Priest is gonna main event WrestleMania. One day.
Really?
Ooh. Oh, one
Yes.
day, yeah.
Oh shit.
I've been all over this. I've been loving this guy since he was in NXT. I think they did the right thing bringing him up. I think the sky is the limit for this guy. He can work. He has the size. He has the athleticism. He can talk. No, whatever. He's a good looking dude. And he can work healer, baby. He just. I think the sky is the limit for Damian Priest, and I the,
Yeah, I'm not.
see where he goes. I don't think he go. Yeah, go ahead.
No, you can finish your thought.
On the level of Lashley yet. He should. Now, I just on Raw tonight. He just beat the Miz. That's a good starting point for him. You know,
Mm.
I don't want to see him beating in a thing with Lashley yet because Lashley would run over him. He has to run over him right now if they did put him in that feud. So, but with the Miz is a chicken shit heel. Perfect guy for him to have a little thing with right now. That's fine. Miz doesn't matter how many times Miz loses. He has the briefcase. Doesn't mean shit.
Yeah.
He's a perfect guy. He can take L's.
Well, okay. I'm not sold. That doesn't mean he can't change my mind, but I'm not a big Damian Priest fan. If you rank the future stars where I see them, I'd much rather see Keith Lee. Matt Riddle, was higher on Matt Riddle than a Damian Priest, but they've already pretty much made him a comedy guy. Even though King Daniel Bryan, who has already done it with Shinsuke and Cesaro, has made them look legit. He made Matt Riddle look legit during that damn Rumble. So Daniel Bryan is just that damn good.
Oh, there's no question about that. No one's denying, Daniel Bryan's in-ring skill. And listen, if Daniel Bryan is going to be doing jobs on the way out and doing jobs to all of these particular guys in the way that he's doing it, competitive matches, showing all their strengths, getting them over, he's got all the sympathy. The fans love him. So, in the fans' world, Daniel Bryan can do no wrong. So he has all the love and all the sympathy. So he's going to stay over no matter what. But those guys being able to beat him, legitimize those guys, even though they don't need to be legitimized because they're all fantastic talents. It's just a matter that they haven't been presented as such. But having them beat Daniel Bryan, and the thing is, Daniel Bryan versus Matt Riddle, I want to see that match. Give me that match. I'll take it every day of the week. So, to present me that match, I'm grinning from ear to ear. And the thing about it is that a guy like Matt Riddle's a fantastic talent. It's just a matter that his gimmick is goofy. But we get over it because once the bell rings, if you put him in the right situation and the right opponent, you got magic every time.
Right. People know he's legit. People know he's legit. If they want to pull that trigger on talking about Riddle's legit background in MMA, and goddamn, he has the most famous knockout on the Ultimate Fighter ever. The guy is a legit badass. So if they want to go with that, they can instead of having the fucking half-ass stoner gimmick that he has.
Yeah.
So Chris, how was it seeing Carlito make his return?
It was cool. I wanted to see the apple spit though. Robbed me of that. But I see what they're doing. Just if I can spoil it for you guys. He came out tonight for a tag match, and he stood up top and looked at his hand, and the apple was missing. So he's babyface right now. So
Spitting the apple is COVID friendly right now. So I think that's
oh
my
yeah,
take.
shit.
Yeah, I'm
There's
glad
that,
Joe
yeah.
said it because I was gonna say that too. Like, you can't be
Can't
spitting
spit
apples
apples.
in
There's
the
that.
face during this time.
Bad PR.
Yeah, no
Yeah,
kidding.
no
That's bad
apple
for
spitting
every
at the
sense.
moment.
No, but he's babyface. He was teamed up with Hardy, and they shook hands and everything. So they'll save the apple,
Yeah.
which is
I mean,
fun. But
yeah.
yeah, he looked great. Dude was shredded, massive, looked like a monster.
Yeah.
Carlito looks better now than he did 15 years ago in his initial run, which is just listen, it always goes to show you that with a guy like Carlito, he has an amazing amount of talent. I think with him, it's always been a matter of his motivation. If he's motivated, he'll do wonders. But if he's not motivated, you're going to see it very clearly in every aspect of his performance if he's not motivated.
Promo he cut on him. That was on Raw. That was not part of the story. That was real. And they said take the piss out of this guy because he's been an asshole lately, and he did it. And Flair did it live on Raw.
Yes, he did.
That was a legit thing he said. Everything he said to him was real.
Yeah, and Carlito sold it as such.
But I'm glad he's back. Hopefully his attitude is a little bit better because he looks great. Who knows where he can go? Anybody can get over under the right circumstances.
Yeah.
And if you've been over before, you can get over again. And considering he looks better, I don't know. I haven't seen him. I saw him in the Indies a couple of times, but he had a similar attitude. He kind of was like, whatever. But looking at his physique tells me that he cares. You know, obviously he's working really, really hard to keep that physique. So I want to see what he can do. I want to see if he's better. Has he gotten better on the mic? Has he gotten better in the ring? You know, can he maybe have a nice little moment at WrestleMania against somebody? You know, who knows? I don't know. Help wrestle somebody younger and maybe put them over. Do something interesting like that. I don't know, but let's see what happens with him. I hope he sticks around for a while.
I hope so too. I really do.
All right, so before we get to the winner, who was obviously Edge, do you have any MVPs? Who stole the show? Who was the top performer? No one. They didn't do the this guy comes in and gets 8 eliminations. I think the most was Lashley with 4. They had Lashley get eliminated by like 10 people, so that made him look good. Orton has his moment where he goes away, he comes back towards the end. Strowman has his moment where he eliminated like 3 guys in a row. So everyone had small moments, but that's why I said that I like the women's match better because the highlights were greater. Like more people stood out in that match, and people were given like better opportunities to shine. And then they did the whole lasting the entire match. They did a lot of eliminations with Rhea. They did all that stuff. So I thought the women's was a little bit better in that aspect. So Chris, who stole the show? Who was your MVP?
Shit. The person that I really is coming to my mind right now is Daniel Bryan, I believe.
Yeah.
Because he came in burst of energy, just kicking guys in the corner. I think he had a submission in the middle of the ring, and
him and Matt Riddle had like a submission contest, full-blown MMA jiu-jitsu grappling contest in the middle of the ring.
In the middle of a crowded ring. So I'm gonna say Daniel from what I remember.
Who was your MVP, Joe?
And just because there was no, in my opinion, there was no, just like you said, there was no Diesel spot. Yeah. There was no clear-cut Kane throwing out 11 guys. There was no clear-cut dominant guy. You know, it to me, it would be between Lashley and Daniel Bryan. I'll just go with Daniel Bryan because he's my fave. So, yeah, honestly, I like the thing he did with Riddle. that was really cool. I will go with Daniel Bryan. But like I said, it was very well booked. I liked the Rumble, but it's hard to pick an MVP because there wasn't like that guy this year. But which is fine. They don't have to do that every year. They don't have. You do that every year, and then it becomes expected and not cool anymore. So I was fine with them not doing a little different this year. That was fine by me.
Yeah, I'm not even. Did Danny Bryan even eliminate anyone?
I'm sure he did.
He eliminated Seth Rollins. Like, did he? No, he was. Seth Rollins eliminated him.
Yes.
Right.
I don't think he eliminated anyone and still was the star of the match. He did not eliminate anyone and still found a way to get over, stand out. Lou, who was your favorite?
Well, I mean, if I had to take an MVP, as much as I hate saying this because it seems like it's an easy out, it was actually Edge. Because I mean, listen, here's the reason why. Forget about the fact that he started the match, because I've seen many Rumbles where the winner starts at number one, and you're like, if you remove that from the equation, there's not a whole lot special about their performance. The thing is with Edge is that Edge basically weaved in moments with all the guys, interspersed in the match. So he had moments with Damian Priest, had a moment with Ricochet, had a moment with Daniel Bryan, had a moment, obviously with Strowman at the end, with Seth Rollins. He had moments with every single person in the match. So that kind of made him the MVP, especially in the beginning of the match, where he basically took a 3-on-1 ass whipping when he had Orton, Sami Zayn, and Mustafa Ali just beating the piss out of him. And I just thought to myself, okay, bye, Edge. It's over. Obviously I know it's not, but I'm just saying, out loud on the TV. Daniel Bryan did a fantastic job in this match. He was highlighted, and I think, and it's being done on purpose. I think that if this is his last big run, then WWE is getting the most juice out of it and making it work. So obviously in the Royal Rumble, they feature him. He comes in, I think it was at 17, he came in. So he was right in the middle of the match, and he stayed so damn near the end. And that was great stuff. In this particular field, no one really stood out. Like, I was a little disappointed that we didn't get any, like, real outside of Carlito. And listen, Carlito was great, and we love Carlito, but he's a face that we've seen before. Like, generally the Royal Rumble is usually a place where you get at least one person where, like, all right, we haven't seen this cat before. And I was hoping and praying that it would be Jay White. And throughout the whole match, it was like, all right, when's he coming out? And he's like, no, he's in Japan. I know. He's in New Japan. I know.
I told you he was swerving us.
But the thing is that I was hoping that we'd see something like that. I thought that having the Hurricane in this match, having Kane in this match, those are particularly Hurricane Helms. I would have given that slot to somebody else. There's got to be somebody else in the locker room that can have that spot. I understand with Kane will come in, and then they do the whole Team Hell No. They did the whole hug it out spot and all that. Like you see Joe smiled there and just saying that. So probably for that one moment, it's worth having him in the match. But for Hurricane, I think that they did good with Big E. Big E had a good performance in this match as well. The one thing that I guess to me, the one thing that kind of bothers me is that for guys like that, you got to find ways to keep them in the match until the end, so that their elimination seems, like they're getting tossed out. Either you got a faction of people, or you get like a super strong heel or whoever that overpowers them. Because if E came in at number 10 and the guy who threw him out came in 27, 28 or whatever, it makes sense that E's been out there for 30 minutes and he's tired, he's winded, and somebody would toss him out. But it just kind of seems like I don't remember when he got thrown out. I don't remember who tossed him out. Yeah. So those are the kinds of things that stick with me, that it goes to show that when you want to lay these matches out and you want to tell me who's supposed to be who, part of it is you don't need to win the match because you can only have one winner. But everybody should be able to win in terms of the fact that their entrances mean something and their exits mean something. And unfortunately, when you miss the boat on either one, like if you have a guy that comes in a flat spot, or he gets thrown out in the middle in a flat spot, then it almost seems like their participation was wasted, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. with Big E, it's crazy because it feels so stop and start almost, or like they're not sure. They're like
They're
Big
spinning
E.
their wheels. They're spinning their wheels is what they're doing.
It's
with
like they
him.
want to do something, but they're not sure if they should. And as soon as they made the decision to change his music and split him from the New Day, that's when they should have made the decision: is he or is he not facing Roman at WrestleMania? Let's say, because once that decision is made, then you can pick the moments, the big moments that he needs to have, so that we believe it. And he's having really fun performances. He's having good little moments here and there, but they don't feel big enough. The shine on him during this match was fun. He had a good performance, but it wasn't this great thing that I'll never forget. So I'm still waiting for him to have this huge moment where we can believe that maybe he's on his way to the main event. Maybe that's not this year. Maybe they'll keep him IC title. I don't know, but I would love to see more from him. I guess we'll wait and see what happens next with Big E. So of course, Edge is the winner. It got scary because I'm thinking Randy's gonna come out. If he's gonna come out, it's gonna be to set up Edge and Orton. So who's winning the Rumble? So I'm like, wait, what's happening? If Edge and Orton is being set up, but I guess they decided to look that ship has sailed. They can revisit that in 3 months or whatever.
Yeah.
Or more than 3 months, in 6 months.
Wait, what ship?
The Edge and Orton ship.
They're wrestling right now.
Go ahead, Joe.
No!
They're wrestling
good.
right now on Raw.
Good.
Yep.
Edge can put him. If Edge can put him away definitively, that's it. That can end the story there, and then we can move on. So that's fine. I'm thinking the whole time the Fiend is gonna come out, and maybe, which might be a good thing, because maybe Orton tries to be a snake and catch Edge at the end, and that's when the Fiend comes out, even though he's not in the match, gets rid of Orton, and then Edge gets rid of whoever was in there with him last or whatever, something like that.
Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I just remembered when I said that I didn't remember who tossed out Big E. It was freaking Omos.
And that's
Not
funny
even
because,
in the damn match.
but look,
That guy had more eliminations than Daniel Bryan, and he wasn't even in the damn match.
Holy shit! Yeah.
yes, but think about this.
Just
Think about
yanked them
this.
out.
That moment where Omos does the big. Who did he do that to? Who did he pull down like that?
Big E.
I know he pulled
The Big E
out
one
Big E.
when he kind of reaches over and just grabs him.
He pulled out Big E, and I know he pulled out somebody else.
So think about it. So here's the opportunity right there. Big E had an opportunity to be the first guy to bow up to Omos. And it would be completely believable. He doesn't have to bury him. He could just get in his face like, yo, what the hell is wrong with you?
It will happen probably this week on SmackDown. I'm almost certain that it will.
Let's see, because that would have been a standout moment for Big E, and those are the moments that I am referring to. But yeah, so we have Edge as the winner. So we're spitballing what's gonna happen. I think it will be Edge and Roman, and then maybe we'll get a surprise for Drew. What do you guys think? Edge is your Royal Rumble winner.
But I think I go the opposite. I think Edge is gonna go with Drew, and he's gonna do the favor for Drew.
Yeah, I think that I'm with Joe on this one. In all honesty, with all due respect, Roman Reigns doesn't need the further rub anymore. Meaning that Roman Reigns already has, Roman Reigns has so many signature wins, and sometimes we take them for granted because we're like, all right, listen, he beat Brock Lesnar, he beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania. He's been multiple time champion. Every major star in WWE, he's beaten. He's beaten every single one. I don't think there's a single one that he hasn't beaten. So does he need to beat Edge? The answer is no. I think that Drew McIntyre would probably need this a little bit more because again, we're still building. Again, the foundation for Roman Reigns was built a long time ago. It's just a matter that now the performance that we're getting out of Roman Reigns, I think, is the performance that we've all wanted from Roman Reigns, meaning being the natural heel, versus the way the company was positioning him as a babyface. We all vomited all over it, and people saying, "Oh, Roman Reigns sucks" and all that. And he's like, "No, Roman Reigns does not suck. Roman Reigns was always great. He always looked like $1 million. He always worked to his level, and he only got better with every single match he had, with every single level that he came up. He always rose to the occasion and got better. The thing is, now all the foundation has been laid down for him, and now he gets to now be the heel that can say, I've accomplished all of this. I'm the head of the table, blah, 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 and all the things he's doing in his promos, and his work has been fantastic. With a guy like McIntyre, McIntyre is over. However, the thing about it is that McIntyre is going to be the definitive babyface of the future for the WWE. He's it. If you're talking about a prototypical babyface champion, look no further than Drew McIntyre, folks. Look no further than him. Everybody else that you can possibly think of after him is not going to have, they're going to be missing something. Whether it's size, whether it's promo, whether it's intensity, whether it's what, you can pick apples and oranges, and we can compare and contrast, and we can always find the positives in everybody. But when you're talking about a guy McIntyre is damn near as close to a complete package for a babyface champion in WWE in 2021. You ain't gonna get much better than that. And I think that what they're doing with McIntyre is laying the foundation underneath him, so that 2 years from now, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, we'll still be thinking of Drew McIntyre as the man. And then when it comes time for him to lose, if somebody else comes up and challenges him and can take him down, then you've basically got 2 stars, not 1. So everything's about building the foundation underneath them. Because listen, Edge is already a made man. Edge is a made man. All the stuff that he's doing now, this is all gravy. This is all gravy. This is basically a love letter to all the wrestling fans. So I'm sure that he'll have no problem putting over McIntyre if he's asked to do it. And I think that would be the right decision, because it would not make sense to have Drew McIntyre lose to Edge. No disrespect to him, but Edge he does not need to be champion ever again.
He wants to be champion. I don't think he wants that burden. His age. And guys, give me one bathroom break. Just 1 second. Keep going.
Chris, do you agree?
Yeah. I'm a little bit conflicted, because I think him and Roman can tell us a better story. I think Roman and Paulie can beat the shit out of him, get in his head, pick up on this Roman Reigns, some of this Roman Reigns work they've done over the past year. I think they can tell a better story. And the other part of me doesn't cancel him out as not winning either. I can see WWE putting a belt on him, and giving him that one big blast. I don't know how long he's planning to wrestle, but that big WrestleMania moment.
Pretty sure he's on a 3-year deal.
Especially if Drew is going to be here for the long haul and is piggybacking off of what I said earlier. There's no fans. I mean, are you taking more chances with Drew? He's only lost twice. He lost to Braun. So he's only lost once to Randy. Edge beat Randy, so I don't know. I don't know where it goes. I would like to see him face Roman, because I think it'll be a better story. But I mean, who does Drew fight? So I don't know.
Yes, that's the thing, and that's why I kind of hope they have something. They have a plan for Drew. The best match is Edge against Roman. The best story is Edge against Roman. All the scenarios that you can have: Edge and Christian against Jimmy and Jay, Edge and Christian against Jay and Roman. All that good stuff. There's a lot that you can do with Edge and Roman. And like Chris said, does Edge need the title? Of course not. but neither does Roman. I think Edge is beating Roman for the title. Of course, Roman will get it back eventually. Edge is getting one last run. That is my prediction. I know it sounds crazy, but I think it's a feel-good story. It's a beautiful story. Edge is one of the few, old timers that the fans are. I don't think they would revolt. Like it's not like, or a part timer or they keep everyone is probably not so happy when you bring in an old guy, quote unquote, and they get everything, and the young guys who are there every day feel like they get nothing. But Edge is a guy that the fans would. I'm sure they're behind them right now. We can see them, but we don't know what they really feel. We can't really hear them, right? The audio is being manipulated, so we don't fully know. But I have a feeling that Edge beating Roman would be crazy, completely crazy, and not for nothing. WWE kind of needs it. They kind of need. They don't need Edge to be champion, but they need exciting things to happen. They need the product to be a little bit more unpredictable, and Edge is a legitimate star. So right now you have Roman as a star, you have Drew as a star. We named 8 females. We need 8 guys. So I need Daniel Bryan to step up, keep doing what you're doing. AJ Styles, step up a little bit, keep doing what you're doing, but do it on a bigger scale, whatever. Now we got to find the rest of the guys. Like, is it Strowman? Maybe. I don't know who it is, but Edge is definitely one of them. If you make the right moves, you're good to go. Edge just wants to do a good job. He wants to be there. Right now, it's fake full time. They're not really working full time. He's not going to be bumping every night. He doesn't need to. You can do plenty good with Edge right now.
I mean, when you look at WWE's men's roster, they're actually very well positioned. I just think that I think at times people are sleeping on it, but they're very well positioned because listen, you got your 2 champions. You have Drew, you got Roman. Roman's got the twins. You have Edge. Now Christian's been reintroduced. Kevin Owens has been booked very well. Nakamura's been heating up, and he got turned babyface. Cesaro's getting heat up. Daniel Bryan's been heating up. Matt Riddle looks like he's going to be ready for his heat up. You got all the members of the Hurt Business. That's those guys are revved up. So I think in theory, WWE has a lot of guys that are at the very least, they're warming up and they're getting ready for that big heat up. So I think that in all honesty, there's a lot more good going on because they're booking slowly but surely because they're not hot-shotting this. They're doing it very slowly, and sometimes you can kind of overlook certain things, but I think that slowly but surely they're building their foundation. And what they're doing is now, I think that WWE, you're going to see now with The Undertaker retiring, let's say Goldberg going away, let's say now that, we're not going to go with the Brock Lesnar's, Triple H, Shawn Michaels and all these other guys, then now, or John Cena, because I know that eventually we'll see Cena again under the right circumstances, The Rock under the right circumstances, that really what you're going to see is you're going to see probably the advent, not the Attitude Era in terms of the product, but the Attitude Era in terms of how you had people who we all saw the potential and then they're bubbling underneath, and then all of a sudden they come up to the main event, and then we're going to be like, holy crap, we got 12 guys who we can intersperse, mix and match any which way we want. I think slowly but surely that's happening. It's just probably happening so quietly that you got to like really probe in to see it and be like, holy crap. And that's not me mentioning AJ Styles or Randy Orton or other, there's just so many guys that proper booking. I mean, geez, and then you got Seth Rollins coming back, and Jesus Christ, we're there. And the Fiend, I didn't even mention the Fiend, because obviously when they bring him back, he'll be a baby face. Hopefully they'll book him right. They'll book him like pseudo Undertaker in his early days, meaning that he's going to be chasing after the heels, and the heels will genuinely be scared, not have Randy Orton burn him to death. But, Like these types of things. There's a lot of good going on there creatively, and it kind of seems exciting because there was a period where I'm like, I always kept saying, listen, WWE is aware that their creative sucks and they're trying to change. I think that now we're starting to see the fruits of that trying to change. We're beginning to see the fruits of it now.
I think there's been a turn with the WWE creative, and it's been a lot better lately, and it's been more long-term, big picture booking, which I like. As far as Reigns, I don't think it's near time for him to be dropping the title at all. I love his role. I love his position. So I think he should run with the title through WrestleMania and for a while after that. I love where he's at right now. It's not time yet. There's not a guy. There's not that baby face that's gonna rise above him yet. There's just it has to happen organically, and it's the guy is not there. As much as I like to even, I like to see Daniel Bryan win the Elimination Chamber and challenge him, but ultimately, come up short through the, you can win that while keeping him strong. So that's what I like to see. And to your point, Lou, I could not agree more. I think the creative has done a lot better job. And Bruce Pritchard, maybe Bruce knows what he's doing right now. You got to give credit where it's due.
Yeah, I mean, little by little, sometimes, we see things that we piss on, we don't like, we roll our eyes at. And there was a period where I just looked at WWE and I was like, oh my God, how can you possibly screw this up so much? But now it just kind of seems like, again, Rome wasn't built in a day, and WWE did not become so bad creatively in a day. It took a long time for them to become really bad creatively, so it's going to take them some time to steer the ship back in the right direction. The thing is that they have all the talent they could ever possibly want under one banner. They got them. So if the WWE doesn't do the right creatively, it has nothing to do with the talent. It has to do with the brain trust writing the show.
That's right now.
Yeah, I think I don't know if Bruce Pritchard if they get all the credit here based on, because he's in charge of both shows. And
it's a team effort, absolutely. He's not going to get 100% of the credit.
No way.
Well,
what I'm trying to say is that there's something going on at SmackDown that's not happening at Raw. It's crazy obvious. It's not a talent issue, in my opinion, because there's enough talent on both shows. SmackDown is 20 times better than Raw. It is not close. All the top stars on SmackDown feel way bigger than the top stars on Raw. Like, whether they are or not, if the roles were reversed, I don't know. But for me right now, SmackDown's a lot better. It's a lot more exciting. It's not close. So I don't know who's over there. Like I said, I know Roman and Daniel Bryan have a lot of say, not just in their creative. Daniel Bryan is pretty much coming up with creative for everyone, and he's putting people in great positions. And every time he touches someone, they pretty much turn to gold right away. So
we should call
maybe he's the X Factor. Maybe Daniel Bryan's the X Factor. So he continues to be the MVP for WWE. So good, whether he's in the main event or not, good for him. Well, I think you guys have any final thoughts?
I'll tell you, this was actually the first, big show that I've seen from WWE in a while, where top to bottom, and I mean, we didn't talk about every single match on the card, but top to bottom, everything was entertaining. Everything was entertaining. And everything was good. They told told proper stories, got things in the right direction. So, realistically, I think that we're gearing up for what I think is going to actually be some really exciting TV for WWE leading into WrestleMania, because I think that they've done a good job over the last several months positioning people correctly so that when it's time to make the push, it seems more organic than it probably is. I think that there's a lot of strategy behind it, but when you do it slowly, it feels more organic when it probably isn't.
What about you, Chris? You got any final thoughts or anything you need to plug? You want people to come follow you on Instagram?
No, not yet. follow the Wrestlebros.
Instagram and Twitter at the Wrestlebros.
Yeah. I overall enjoyed the show. I mean, of course, there were a few hiccups, a few eyebrow raising moments. It wouldn't be a WWE show without them, but overall, it was a good start to quote unquote road to WrestleMania, and I minus Edge, who's an older guy. I love how they're grooming the young guys and the young ladies, which is what we've been clamoring for forever. So I think this is a good start for that, and yeah, I'm excited to what's ahead.
All right, Joe. Here's your chance to shine. Now remember here, you're representing 3 other men, so there's a lot of pressure on your back. Where can the people find you?
All right. Well, I'm very nervous, but I'm gonna try to push through. IG sports_group_therapy, and Twitter SGT podcast. And I love that we're doing this little collaboration here. This is really cool as hell. That we had it. Like you were on our show, now I'm on yours. I really enjoyed this. This was good shit. Yeah, guys. Thanks for having me, man. This has been awesome. And especially because you guys know your shit. I'm very I'm very how do I say, like I'm bougie when it comes to dealing with other wrestling fans, so you guys know your shit. So I'm very I thoroughly enjoyed this. Thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
No, man, we thank you for coming on, man. We really appreciate it.
And I apologize. My AirPods died like 3 times while I was on here, but I kept trying to make it slick about it and try to change them like on the low.
It's all right. Listen, technical difficulties are a part of the game. It's all good.
Absolutely. So thanks again, guys. This is fucking awesome. And you guys are always welcome on our show. I think I can speak for the guys saying that, and then I'd love to come back if you ever have me. This is good shit.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely have you back. WrestleMania is only about WrestleMania is only about 10 weeks away at this point, or however long.
Right around the corner.
Yeah. Before we'll be reconvening.
Right after we thaw out of this snow burial that we're dealing with right now.
Yeah, for all of our listeners who don't live in the northeastern United States, we're basically stuck in about 2 feet of snow right now. This is pretty much, we're quarantined, but it's not because of any laws. It's just the snow is quarantining.
Yep.
We can't go nowhere. I hope you like your homes, boys.
Yeah, I'm fine at home.
I hope you have your milk and bread and all that shit.
That's right.
Well, with that being said, Joe, it was a pleasure. You're welcome back anytime. We're all about uniting the bros, uniting wrestling fans, and you're a wrestling fan, so you come back anytime, especially for WrestleMania. We'll see you soon.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a good. I had a blast.
Yeah, man. Next time I'll come on your show, man, because we could talk baseball and wrestling. That's gonna be tons of fun.
Yeah, I'm right. And we got both, and we got WrestleMania and the start of the baseball season right at the same time, unless they push it back about what they're talking about. I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see about that. I've already shed enough tears for the guys the Mets haven't signed.
Yeah, don't shed any tears for Mickey Callaway, because he just getting out. He's got accused of some business there. I don't know.
Yeah, man.
We'll see. Oh,
yeah.
God. He's been a naughty boy, that Mickey Callaway.
I'll tell you. We'll talk about him on your podcast.
Let's
all right, John. All right, man. Have a good one. We're out.
Nice.
Hey, guys, boys and girls, we're out. We'll see you next week.